The Telltale Heart, Regina, Saskatchewan. True, very, very dreadfully nervous. I have been and am. But why do you say I am mad? The disease, if that's what you want to call it, had elevated my senses, had elevated them, not deranged them. I heard many things in heaven, and some things in hell. But if you still think I'm mad, you won't, when you hear how calmly, how clearly, how cleanly I can tell you about how I came to kill the old man. I cannot remember when the idea first entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me night and day. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me, and I was never kinder to him than during the whole week before I killed him. Why did I kill him? I don't really know. He had never given me insult, and for his gold I cared not. So why did I? Yes. The eye. His eye. He had an eye with a pale blue film over it, like a vulture's eye. And every time it gazed upon me, I felt my blood run cold. It too haunted me night and day. And it was to destroy the eye that I killed the old man. But if you still think me mad, hearken and listen to this. Listen to this. For every night, for 8 nights, after midnight, I stood in the doorway of the old man's room, and slowly, ever so slowly, sometimes taking a solid hour, I slowly pushed open the door. So slowly, a watch's minute hand moved more quicker than mine. I pushed it slowly open and stood there listening for the slightest sound to determine if the old man was awake or asleep. And once I was satisfied, once I had satisfied myself, he did indeed slumber, I would turn on my pocket flashlight and shine it on his face. But as he slept, the eye was closed to me. Closed to me. And I couldn't do the deed. But on this night, the 8th night, I must have made some slight noise, possibly the creaking of a floorboard, and the old man suddenly shot up in bed and cried, "Who's there?" For an entire hour, I did not move a muscle, and I did not hear him lie down. And I know the whole time he was telling himself it had just been the wind in the chimney, or a car passing on the road outside. So he told himself, but he didn't really believe it. And the whole time he felt, somehow he knew, the shadow of the angel of death was upon him. And so he did not lie down. Now what you call madness is but an over-acuteness of the senses, for there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch might make when enveloped in cotton, and I knew it was the beating of the old man's heart, and as I listened, it grew quicker and louder, quicker and louder, quicker and louder. His terror must have been extreme, and after another full hour, I turned on my flashlight and the beam, like the thread of a spider, fell on the vulture eye, on the damned spot. The damned spot, damned spot, damned! And with a shriek and a bound, I was in the room and pulling him from the bed. He was dead before his body touched the wooden floorboards. His blue vulture eye was closed forever. The damned spot was closed forever. Now, if you still think I'm mad, you will think so no longer. When I describe to you the wise precautions I took to conceal the body, first I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. In the bathtub, washing the blood down the drain. I then took up 3 planks from the floor of the old man's bedroom and deposited the remains, his remains, between the scantlings, replacing the boards so carefully, oh so carefully, that no eye, even the old man's, even his evil vulture eye, would have known they had ever been disturbed. It was 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I'd finished, and I was yawning. It was time for bed. I'd had a busy evening. And then the doorbell rang. I went to the front door. "Hello? Who is it?" I called. "Regina Police Service. May we come in, please?" 3 police constables, one a woman, stood on the doorstep. "Good evening, sir," said the oldest cop, a man. Your neighbors reported a shriek in the night, so we're just checking that everything is okay." I invited them in and said, "Oh, I'm sorry I disturbed anyone. The shriek was my own. I must have had a bad dream or something. It's a good thing the old man who lives here is out at the lake. I might have woken him up." "Mind if we take a look around?" the lady cop asked. Of course I agreed. After all, what had I to fear? Search well," I said, going to make coffee, and apologizing for not having any donuts. Of course, they found nothing. I invited them to sit down and serve them coffee. Coffee in the old man's bedroom. I even put the lady cop directly over the old man's remains. We then spoke of many things, many commonplace things. The results of the recent election, the early snow, the riders, and I agreed, signing Cody Fajardo to 2 years. That was a great move. They suspected nothing. But after a while, I began to wish them gone. I was tired, and my head ached. And then I heard something. A sound. A low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch might make when enveloped in cotton. And I knew. It was the beating of the old man's heart. And as I listened, it grew quicker and louder, quicker and louder, quicker and louder. But he was dead. So how could this be? But there it was, a low, dull, quick sound. And as I listened, it grew quicker and louder, quicker and louder, quicker and louder. What if the cops heard it? How could they not hear it? It grew quicker and louder, quicker and louder, quicker and louder. How could they not hear it? I began to talk louder, to try to cover up the sound. I laughed uproariously at comments that weren't funny, and even began to argue over trifles. No, I don't think the Riders are going to win. I don't think they're going to win the cup. They can't beat the Stamps or the Bombers. They haven't got a chance. You hear me? They haven't got a chance. Nada. Nada. And all the time, the sound grew quicker and louder, quicker and louder, quicker and louder. And then, all at once, I knew. They knew. I knew they knew. They could hear it. They had been listening the whole time, listening to it getting quicker and louder, getting quicker and louder, quicker and louder. They could hear it perfectly well. They were laughing at me, mocking me. I raved, I foamed, I swore. I picked up the chair and dashed it across the wooden floorboards. Then I went in the other room, and I came back with a crowbar. They went for their guns, but I slammed the point of the crowbar into the flooring and wrenched the floorboards out of place. Then I plunged my hands into the opening and raised the old man's heart, dripping wet with blood and gore, dripping red with blood and gore, and still beating. Still beating! Villains, I cried. Villains, dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Observe, it is the beating of his hideous heart.